Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Penultimate place to get your video game news and reviews. This is episode 80 of the Penultimate Game Show, and today's topic is our Xbox State of the Union for 2024 so far. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast service, feel free to give us a good rating on that platform. It helps us with the algorithms and helps us grow our audience. If you're watching this on Twitch, consider dropping a sub, please. That'd be great. And also, give me 1 second. Consider following us and dropping a sub. That'd be fantastic. If you're watching this on YouTube, consider dropping a like and a sub. And do not forget to hit that bell to get notifications for when we go live with all of our shows, like the Marvel Mondays Initiative, the Cross Media Show, and Anime Nation. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ruben, the director of this channel. And with me, I have my generous co-host, Ryan Smith. Ryan, how we doing?
How's it going?
It's going all right. How about you?
Doing good. You know me, I'm always ready to talk about Xbox.
Well, good, because we're ready to. I'm also ready to talk about Xbox. Let's see how this goes. And of course, we have the man who knows everything about JRPGs and fighting games, John Rivera. John, how's it going?
It is going great. I beat Final Fantasy VII Rebirth last week, and I've only listened to like 5 spoiler cast podcasts since I beat it. I can't stop thinking about it.
I am so close. I'm on the final chapter, chapter 14.
I really want to do a spoiler cast with you guys. So
we will be doing a spoiler cast.
I think once you beat it, you're the last of us.
I am literally the last person that needs to beat this game, besides Eric. But Eric
The Last of Us Part 1.
I am. Eric's The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, that works out.
Yeah, that works out. Before we get into it, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. This week we are back with my playthrough of Radical Red. And guys, how many more times will I rage quit this game? We will find out.
Probably a few.
Well, yeah, probably a few. But we'll find out tonight at, I want to say, probably 5 p.m. Eastern.
You gotta know your type advantages, man.
It's not that. It's just... Yeah, you're right. I just... Yeah.
I think Radical Red is also that type of game where it's like, are you using the moves that like lower your enemy's attack or?
Oh, you have to be playing it like late stage Persona games.
Yeah. You have to be debuffing your enemies and buffing your boys.
Yeah.
You gotta be shell smashing more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see tonight when I try to defeat Misty and get that Cascade badge. So we'll see what happens. That should be, I want to say, 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. We are also starting a new playthrough of Fire Emblem Path of Radiance this Wednesday at 8 o'clock
you're
Eastern.
in for a treat. That's a fantastic
I have never played this game. I am very excited.
That's the Game Boy ones, right?
No, this is the GameCube.
GameCube one.
GameCube.
Okay, yeah.
Or I guess the second one is Wii, but like the first of that era of Fire Emblem.
Is Roy or Morph on the cover?
I think this is Ike.
It's Ike's game. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Ike's series.
Which game is Morph?
Have you played either of the Game Boy games before?
Yeah. I love the Game Boy games. Game Boy games are fantastic.
I gotta get into them. I have them, I just haven't played them. It's hard to find with years like this, it's hard for me to go find time to like go back to play old games when I'm really excited about new games coming out.
Yeah, I hear you. So that's happening this Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And of course, since Key 3 is so close, we figured we'd do some live reaction. So I will be posting up the schedule for the live reactions up on YouTube and Twitter. I was going to say Twitch and Twitter later this week. So let's keep an eye out for that. And as
this week, is it? Is it next week?
It is
June.
Next week. It's next week. Yeah.
So it's already next week, Dave.
Yeah. Next week, June 6th. June 7th is
and supposedly the streets are saying that we might get a PlayStation showcase within the next week before the end of May, but
this is true.
Who knows?
I'll believe it when I see it.
Didn't Nintendo say they're doing a June
Yeah, they said Nintendo's doing a June showcase. They have not announced the exact date, but in a message to their investors, they said that they are doing a June showcase for the 2024 remainder of 2024 Switch games, and they will not be talking about Switch successor in that show. So,
Well, I don't believe that for a second, but we will see what they decide to. Oh, sorry, hold on. What they decide to show off, so to speak,
mhm,
because it's I really don't believe it.
mhm.
Oh my,
I'm guessing there is going to be a swan song to the Switch of
probably,
some sort.
yeah, I could see that.
I'm
Mhm.
guessing who?
The
It
really
could be a
obvious.
Fire Emblem game, actually.
Oh, that'd
Well,
be
we just
fantastic.
had I because we
We got
had
3 Houses, what, 4 or 5 years ago now?
We got
yeah, but
Theory
we had
Houses.
Engaged at the beginning of last year, I think. Fire Emblem
Oh yeah,
Engage.
that's right. I completely
But
forgot
I
about
think
Engage.
one of
I
those
also
was
forgot
by
about Engage.
Intelligent
The Pepsi Head
System,
Kid.
and I think Three Houses is by Koei Tecmo, so we might get a more Three Houses style Fire Emblem.
Okay.
I think I think for a Nintendo June showcase, I think the most likely situation is they go really hard on Metroid. Because I think with how like cool people, obviously it's just Metroid fans got excited about remastered Metroid Prime remastered. I can imagine a Prime 4 looking really good and Nintendo being like, you don't have to play the rest of the games, just jump in. Just
Yeah.
jump in. Just please play Metroid. It's got the hot lady from Smash Brothers. Please just play it. So,
Got the hot
um
lady from Smash Brothers. That's
that's
pretty
what
good.
Samus is, unfortunately. Most
You're
people
not wrong.
know her as the blue lady from Smash Brothers. Oh, I guess she's also in the robot suit sometimes.
You're not
And
wrong.
sometimes in the Dork Robot suit.
Hmm.
It's driving me nuts. I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 second.
It's all right. I'm
Yo,
sorry.
good. Well, you do that. John, I got a question for you.
What's up?
Other than Final Fantasy, what else have you been playing?
Um, I'm still going through Persona 3 Reload.
Okay.
Um, I
How many
am
hours you in?
so I keep saves coming and like texting people while I'm playing. So like I'm at the 140 hours mark somewhere around there,
What
and
month are you in?
I'm in I think I'm finishing October.
Okay.
So um that part has happened, and we have like we're gearing up to fight the last
Yeah.
shadow of the
Yeah, the
dungeon.
month of the sections of the tower.
Yeah. So I'm having a good time. It's finally starting to like build up to something story wise. I was kind of it felt kind of really repetitive towards the middle after like the first or second month. I kind of got the hang of things and there wasn't a whole lot of development. Just at the at the full moon every month they'd just be like, "Oh, another full moon again. Time to fight some shadows," and there wouldn't be much complication going on other than that. The one bad guy group, they spend like 2 or 3 of those moon nights just showing up and being like, "We don't like what you're doing," and I'm like, "You gonna do something about it?" And they're like, "We're gonna make angry eyes," and then walk away. Like so, but they've done stuff now in the like in September, October, and so I'm excited to see the game start like cooking. So
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Nice, nice. What about you, Ruben?
I've just been playing
Been playing?
Final Fantasy VII
Grinding
Rebirth.
out that Final Fantasy.
I'm at
mhm.
85 hours.
Okay.
I
That
was
that
Yeah,
feels about
I
right.
was
I
really
am
hoping to
beating
get to 100.
at around 76. I was skipping a lot of side stuff though.
I put about 100 hours in. That was about my playtime with
Yeah.
sides.
Yeah. I mean, I've
When
done
I
all.
start
No, go ahead, Ryan.
mhm.
John, go ahead.
When I start getting like towards the end of Persona 3 Reload, I'm kind of gonna start going half and half, and going back and finishing the side stuff I missed in Rebirth because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I have done almost everything except for I didn't finish the Queen's Blood stuff. I just need to finish, I guess, one more person. And I think I have to do Corel's stupid region area missions.
Yeah,
stuff.
Corel is weirdly long for how
yeah, it's also
small of an area it is.
It's also very
tedious. Because you have Mount Corel, and then they've spread it all the way out to like include Costa del Sol and like the desert area right before Gongaga. I find that really fascinating. So
yeah, it like I said, it's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. I will go back to that stuff as soon as I finish the game. So we shall see what happens with that. I think Ryan, what have you been playing?
I'm playing 2 games. Currently, one I've gone back into Destiny to prepare for Final Shape.
Okay.
Because to me, this will be the end of me playing Destiny. I know they got a new roadmap for kind of keeping the game in a stasis mode, basically.
Okay.
But the last story of this saga, at least, is now the 10 plus years I've played Destiny. Because I started playing Destiny 1 in beta or alpha. So I've been playing it for a very long time. So I'm excited to see that end. So I've been gearing up for that. Then the other game I've been playing, as just kind of like a relaxation game in a weird way, when I was bored of RPG grinding.
Okay.
Which was a PlayStation game I've been playing on the Xbox. MLB The Show 24. Playing some simulation baseball.
On the Xbox, no less. How dare you? How
I
dare
have
you?
240 hours in this game.
You're a monster.
Damn.
I want you to know that you are a monster.
I wish I could live that life, but I don't know. There's only so much realistic sports I can get into.
I liked it as a fucking that's what I'm looking for here. Just a thing to do after I was done playing like long story games, as just to play online. I could do it in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then just done with it for the day.
I wouldn't call it relaxing, but I sometimes I'll do that with fighting games, or like after doing story stuff, I'll just be like, I gotta remember what I did last time. I just like load up and start throwing yo-yos as Bridget.
Oh, John, you'll appreciate this. Yesterday, my buddy came over and we just played Akuma all day.
My brother and I are trying to figure out how to schedule Akuma time this weekend because we want to see Furiosa, but I also want to rewatch Fury Road because I've only
Go see Furiosa. That's for both of you. It's incredible.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
but we're gonna figure out when to see that movie, and then at some point go back into Street Fighter 6 because we haven't really touched it since before Rashid came out. So
okay, it's very different now. Everyone's buff. I recommend Ryu.
Cool.
And Ryan, of course, you should know this, that I can't watch Mad Max.
But this doesn't even star Tom Hardy, and he doesn't
matter. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, this one doesn't have Tom Hardy in it.
It doesn't matter. Tom Hardy's in the series.
3 out of the 4 Mad Max movies don't have Tom Hardy in it.
And 4 out of 5 people hate Tom Hardy. Did you know that?
I don't think that's true at all.
I think it is. I don't know about that. I'm pretty sure it's true.
On the other hand, they also star Mel Gibson, which might be worse.
Honestly, I'd rather watch Mel Gibson anytime, any day than Tom Hardy.
There's some things about Mel Gibson I don't like.
Oh, no, I know. I also don't like them. But again, I would rather watch Mel Gibson.
Fair.
I was hoping you just completely forgot about that, Ruben.
No.
Strong Mel Gibson.
One guy that's like, what?
No. I stand by it. With that being said, let's talk about this Xbox guy, this Microsoft situation. Let's start off with the good. How about that? We'll break it up into the good, the bad, and the ugly. How's that sound?
It's been a while, so I need to get caught up on the good. There's been so much bad this week.
Well, let's start off with the good. That is, Hellblade 2 has finally released after being shown off for 5 years.
About. I remember it was shown with the Xbox like shape
reveal
Yep.
in 2019 at
Which
the
is
Game
nuts.
Awards. We had so
Absolutely
much hope
nuts.
back then.
Yeah. Oh, did we ever? Did we ever?
We were like, No More Heroes 3 is gonna be good.
It
Oh,
was, don't you? Because you shut your damn mouth.
I'm gonna go be doing so much stuff going into 2020. I'm gonna be getting out there, trying my best.
Well, I want to ask, what does everybody... we haven't played Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga at all. Any of us haven't played it. But we've been listening to some podcasts and hearing the rumblings of how everybody is just like all over the place for this game.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some people that have said that this game is a masterpiece, that this game is beautifully stunning, which is kind of the same thing. Stunning visual wise, but like the gameplay
Beautiful.
lacks tremendously, and also it's kind of not... it's kind of worse than it was in the first game, which is interesting. I didn't really think that we could do that, but hey, it is what it is. I think it's hard because this game has been in development for so long, and 5 years precisely. I want to say, well, we've known about it for 5 years. So me personally, I see this as kind of a letdown. Like, yes, the game is visually stunning, but like, I hear people are just saying it should have just been an experience, which kind of
It
lets me
sounds
down.
like it is just an experience.
Yeah, pretty
But
much.
is that a bad thing? Like, where does that fall in the realm of gaming? That's the question this now poses. Because it's basically 5 hours long. It's basically one long cutscene where you occasionally move or play.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
that's okay in my opinion, in the sense of as long as the story's good. And that sounds like to be the stellar point of it, at least from what I've gathered from the stuff I've read and listened about.
Okay.
Sounds like it has a killer story.
Okay. All right, I can see that.
So if it holds together story wise, for only 5 hours, I can put up with bad combat, and I'm the combat guy. I like my games to have no story and be pointlessly hard. That's all I want. But I'll take a good story if that's what they're trying to give me here. The question is the story good? I'll know soon. It's been reviewed well story wise.
Yeah.
There
I
isn't
have seen
really
that.
a lot to review otherwise. It's pretty, the story's good, and gameplay's nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. So, John, what were you going to say before?
Well, again, I haven't played it myself. I have been meaning to play the original Hellblade. I just haven't gotten around to it, but I mean, I do own it. And I'm excited to check it out at some point. But I think the big issue, or not issue, but the thing is also that this game it's not getting consistent reviews. It's getting mixed reviews.
Yeah.
So the I think the harshest reviews are criticizing it for the story. Like, I saw Blessing was tweeting that his big issue was the game is that it doesn't feel like it's
Blessing has never
exploring.
given a good review ever, so that's my take on it.
I've seen other people say it, that this is just the one that sticks out in my head, but that because I think Gene Park also was saying this, that it doesn't
Okay.
really feel like it moves Senua's emotional growth further from the first game. It just feels like it's retreading the same themes more so than expanding upon them thematically, more so than like plot wise.
Yeah.
And I think that combined with the way I saw the mechanics described, where basically mash square to move to the next cutscene, basically. And from what I saw, a lot of people felt like the original game was more of an action game when you were in those combat sequences. Like, there was a tug of war going between you and the enemy, reacting to what it does, trying to predict its movements, trying to take advantage of when it puts itself in a weak spot. Um, So it seems like that is the issue. It's just generally weaker in all ways outside of technically. Like everyone agrees that like it's visually nicer than the last game. It's bigger. It looks cooler, or it's more detailed, I guess, because like it's about the same length, so it's not like longer. But graphically, it looks more more
Then I think it's like
expensive.
3 hours shorter even. Because if I remember, the first
Okay.
game is like 8 to 10 hours, and this is like people are clocking in at like 5 to 7.
Yeah. I think a big situation is this is just honestly the problem we've been having with every uh one of the next big game from a developer that Microsoft has bought, is that before Microsoft bought Ninja Theory, Hellblade 2 was the sequel to Hellblade.
Yeah.
And after Microsoft buys Ninja Theory, Hellblade 2 is this is our Last of Us. This is our big story-based linear game that's gonna make you cry, that's gonna make you want to buy figures of Senua, that's gonna
Yeah.
want to put a poster, it's gonna make you interested in the Xbox brand. And it's the same situation that happened with Starfield, where originally it was like this is the, to be fair, even in its own context, it's like this is the evolution of Bethesda's RPG in space. But when Xbox gets it, it's Xbox is trying to have their own Skyrim locked to their platform. And then when it comes out as a mediocre Bethesda title that's got some ups and downs, but it's not like I will buy a $500 machine for this game. I will subscribe to Game Pass so I can play this game over and over again and get all the DLC for free. It becomes a bigger issue than what if it had released as a multi-platform title.
So more
As
people can
Starfield and
shit
the
on it.
Bethesda IP. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Because here's at the end of the day, it's a Bethesda game. It's only going to be as good as a Bethesda game is.
Yeah.
And that is the strongest 7
the
possible.
the problem is for people our age, when they think the best a Bethesda game can be, they think of playing Fallout 3 for like nonstop the week it came out and being like 10 out of 10 best video game ever, or playing Skyrim 11 11 11 and being like put 11 hours into this the day it came out, best game ever made, Skyrim. I think we forget that Elder Scrolls Skyrim we think of today is not the way Elder Scrolls Skyrim in December 2011 was thought of. Like we
Oh,
I wasn't
when it
that
was
into it
beginning to
personally,
break.
but it like people were obsessed with it.
Oh, I remember. I still know some people who are obsessed with Skyrim. But Bethesda is kind of, in a pure RPG sense, they make a really bad RPG.
Yeah.
Like the Fallout series, 3, it has a really strong story. I'll give 3 the credit all day for that story. Great. But the actual technical parts of what an RPG is, which is leveling, building, all that, their systems have never worked very well. It feels very just become God, and once you're God, you're done with the game. But there's no real progression beyond that kind of deal.
I think it's
and I think
Go ahead, Ryan.
the problem with it going into Starfield and stuff was, one, the technical marvels that were able to carry them through being in this giant open world and being so vast and everything. 10 years later, you put so much limitations on this space game that you could never get those immersive feelings by cutting walls, making planets basically just big open, a sandbox but not even that big of a sandbox, but acting like they were going to be. I think all failed them in the sense.
I think part of the situation with Starfield is they're seeking out a specific fantasy that does not appeal as well to the mainstream. Like my brother was really into it because he has aspirations of becoming an astronaut. So he like he's a big fan of like watching NASA streams and like looking at
That's neat.
Objective like aeronautic astronomy like Discovery Channel stuff. So the idea of going to an empty planet where you don't know anything is and just looking at rocks and seeing what you can tell scientifically from that excites him. To the average player, when they go to a planet, they want to meet someone and talk to them and get to know like what's going on thematically there. They want to shoot something, they want to build something. So the concept of, well, realistically, 99% of life on Earth, or of life in the universe, is on Earth. You're not going to find a lot of planets with life on them unless like they've been colonized by humans.
And
That's not exciting to most people.
I think the other problem Starfield faced was in the West, there is a king of the space RPG, and it was the Mass Effect trilogy.
Yeah.
Which gave a very much alien, like this is Battlestar, like kind of deal to
It's
it.
space opera. It's
space opera. It's closer to Star Wars than it
capital
is.
S science fiction, speculative science fiction.
It's like almost like a Star Trek movie kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But Starfield was very much not that.
Yeah.
And I think that did not help it at all.
It's not science. It's science exploration more than science fiction. Like, what if there was a world with a galaxy with aliens, and how could we make galactic travel feel realistic, and how a humans interacting with cultures based on biology completely unlike humans would work. And Starfield is very much like NASA simulator, and that's what they called it, NASA punk. And that was they tried really hard to
it
make you
gave a
understand
great
that's what
aesthetic for a watch. Oh god, did it make a great aesthetic for a watch.
It really did.
I will say, unlike Fallout 76, I think Bethesda nailed their special edition this time. I did not hear people complaining about canvas bags this time.
I think they kind of needed to make sure that they didn't, because they are not
somebody who bought
Bethesda
the 76
anymore.
collector's edition. I remember getting a bag shipped to me in the mail.
Yeah, I mean, they also had like the this time around they had Xbox to make sure, like,
and Xbox. If I have to give somebody real big credit for a lot of dope special editions, especially in that 360 era, Xbox made some of the coolest and nicest quality statues of that era.
They still make some pretty cool Xboxes, and they know how much they can sell because they make like 200, and they're like, here's some Bluey Xboxes.
Yeah.
But like, we're only going to give them away because we know people don't want to buy an Xbox.
But I think the problem that we have with comparing Bethesda with Ninja Theory is that, if I remember correctly, Bethesda was already working on Starfield before they got acquired.
And I'll be honest, I think it probably would have been a worse game if it came out alone from Bethesda.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I feel like
I don't think it's also what it could have been if given if I think Microsoft could have put more in at Starfield at the same time.
I think they should have just handed it to Obsidian. They own both.
Yeah, but it's kind of difficult for you to hand something over to somebody.
You remember, because Obsidian was already they had their like fake Starfield. That they
they have
Outer Worlds.
Yeah,
there you go.
Not Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds was the incredible indie game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But for Ninja Theory, I think it's a little different because of the fact that the two studios, one is obviously Bethesda's pretty huge, and compared to Ninja Theory, which I think is less than 100 people, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong.
I believe it's a small group of Swedes, isn't it?
Yeah. Hold on, let me just double check that. Like,
I thought they were
120 employees as of 2020.
Cambridge, England.
Oh, they're from England. Okay.
Yes, they are from England. So it's a little difficult for them to work on a game for 5 years and then it be this 5 to 7 hour game that is an experience, not really a game. So it says a lot about the fact that Xbox is a little hands off, and they have said this definitely before, that they're hands off, which is good and bad, because one, we saw how hands off doesn't really help because of Redfall and the fact that they closed down Arcane Austin, if I remember correctly. Yeah, right?
Yeah, Austin.
Not because of Redfall, but let's be honest, I'm pretty sure it's because of Redfall.
Well,
But
it seems
also,
like the general thing is that they're looking to become profitable, and so basically they were like, all right, who's got a game that's going to ship out that will be giving us money?
mhm.
Don't leave them, let them finish their game and see what happens after. And then you had the two mobile game developers, and then Tango and uh Arcane Austin, they were
Mhm.
both about to start development, so they were asking for money.
Yeah.
So that's like the big thing is that, and obviously, like in a world where Redfall was like a big money maker, or even if it's because it was kind of set up for a live service system. If
Mhm.
it was making money through its DLCs, and then they were trying to like start up a new production, that might have ended up differently.
Yeah. I just think that Microsoft as a whole kind of expected the Microsoft execs, I should say,
Hmm.
kind of expected a little more from Hellblade
Hmm.
than what they
I
got from
think
Starfield.
like when I said The Last of Us Part 2, like I'm exaggerating a little bit. Like they want that prestige.
Yeah, they want
What
something to be
they're
like, hey, this is what we have.
the reasonable I think they're like this would also be good would be a Plague Tale.
Hmm.
Like a Plague Tale Requiem, very well received. Like people encourage people to pick those games up, and they're like obviously it's died down now, but like someone says like, oh, Plague Tale's on sale, should I get it? I'm guarantee you like 4 or 5 people that like play a lot of games will be like, yeah, it's really good, check it out.
Yeah. Um,
Ryan, you would be muted.
There we go.
there we go.
Okay, I was just saying, Plague Tale definitely worth it. I would definitely, honestly, recommend it above Hellblade. I think it's a better story.
Yeah,
True.
and
Just
that's
rats, you know.
kind of what I'm going for. That like that was because it's also like a independent developer kind of reaching above their limit, what you'd expect from a indie game, but also like a scoped out shorter storyline, but like with high production values. Um, and just like the problem with Xbox right now is that like any game they have coming out, they're trying to position it. I think at this point, the dream of selling Xboxes is over, and it's seemingly like they're um even Game Pass, the dream is over, and they're just trying to see what they can sell and just make dollars out of each product they ship.
I mean, now that you brought up Game Pass, we have. I think everybody knows the fact that Game Pass is the best bang for your buck when it comes to video games. And speaking of the Call of Duty situation, where we had heard reports whether or not they were trying to figure out whether or not they should put the new Call of Duty 2024.
I believe they are.
They are, but there were reports before they even announced that they were. There were reports of whether or not they were trying to figure out
Yeah,
whether or not they should.
it was a discussion. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't a
And
set.
here's
They
the,
were going back and forth behind the scenes for a while. It sounded like.
yeah, which
and
is
I can
insane.
personally say here, I had a conversation about 2 or 3 months ago after the last Call of Duty came out, where me and my friend are like, "Worry, we'll never buy a Call of Duty again. But if it comes out day one on Games Pass, we'll sure as hell be there."
Yeah,
Perfect. That was smart of them.
And then at
That's
the
why
same
they need this
time,
shit.
is it
like,
smart of them though?
well,
Oh,
look at it this
100%.
way. They were in. There is no universe where Xbox is doing this poorly, and Call of Duty is on. The last Call of Duty was on PlayStation. They were going to release it on PlayStation. And currently, I don't know what the actual numbers are, but I know sales wise, PlayStation is outselling Xbox like 5-1.
I believe it
So
is 5-1, yeah.
I don't think Game Pass Call of Duty like it's going to cut into PC sales. We all know the jokes about Call of Duty gamers being casuals. I think most of them are on PlayStation over PC to a certain extent. I think Xbox will make a pretty chunk of change from those PlayStation licensing fees, from selling it on PlayStation, and they
Mm-hmm.
can use that to just see who on like everyone at Xbox like getting more active for discounted subscription Call of Duty, and then seeing who on PC goes, well, I'm not that into Call of Duty, but I'll I'll make a new Game Pass account to see how it
If
is
it's
this time.
crossplay and all that, like it's been for the past 5 years, well,
Mhm.
you can just jump on with anybody on any console. You guys can just do your thing.
Yeah.
Now this is a Black Ops title, which is arguably the best series they have.
I don't know.
In the Call of Duty, the MW
It's the most popular
2019 was
ones.
good, but if you think back, Black Ops 1, 2, 3, and 4 were all pretty great
Yeah,
games.
yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah. And the stories are always way more interesting to me than the modern war stories of being a spy and an espionage
Yes,
kind of
wholeheartedly
guy
agree.
in the
And is it
80s
this
and
one
90s.
going back to
Go for.
Go for, and the
Yeah,
current rumor is they'll be handling a very
'cause
dark day
they
in
started in
2001.
yeah, because they kind of started as a period piece, and then they got sci-fi for a bit, and now they're going back to being,
Mhm.
like, a period
It
piece.
was either gonna be
Obviously
way back in time or way in the future. I prefer
Yeah.
back in time. I think it just
Yes.
makes for a fun story.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for that part of it, of being able to just play the story, play some multiplayer with my friends for a weekend, and not have to spend $70 for that experience. I think that's what's going to help a lot of people, because we understand why games have gone up to $70.
Mhm.
A lot of people do not understand why that
Yeah.
is. And I think that is to this day is the savior for Games Pass and PlayStation Plus
Yeah.
Premium, is
Right.
getting these games for way less than 70.
Mhm.
What I just
'Cause
go ahead, John.
I think it also helps with the common, because right now I don't know if this is just a feeling and if there's actual data to this, but I've been hearing that there's been like a shift where more players are sticking to Warzone than coming in month one for the brand new Call of Duties, because like play the game that you're used to and you know how it works consistently and is free, versus paying $70 for something that is like a massive update to how the multiplayer works. So I think Game Pass also kind of helps with the um Call of Duty yearly releases, where it's like, are you really going to be that guy that pays $70 every single year to play Call of Duty for like a month and a half, and then by the time March comes around, you're like not really touching it anymore? Um, and I think Game Pass kind of makes that feel smoother. Now,
I'll
whether or
be
not,
honest with you. I think Call of Duty probably would have died as a franchise if it wasn't for the pandemic and all of us being locked inside with Warzone. Warzone is what saved that entire franchise, because it got people locked in when they were stuck in their homes, and it was a pretty decent battle royale compared to the likes of Fortnite, which is very cartoony. It's fun. I prefer Fortnite, but if you want your shooter and you don't want to play something that looks like PUBG, it was kind of the only option at that time.
yeah,
And I think that was able to trap a lot of people into going again for another big Call of Duty cycle, because then Call of Duty blew up again like it did 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, but
for at least a couple of games.
The thing you have to remember is that Call of Duty's lowest point in years is like higher than some games ever reach, and would be like totally like they would be like, we are good for 5 years if they reach like Call of Duty
Oh,
Ghost level.
yeah.
Like we never really saw a decline that really felt like Call of Duty is dead. It's more like, oh, Call of Duty is selling slightly less than it has
It
in 3 or
was
4
more,
years.
though, along the lines. I'm talking not about dead in the sense of casuals will buy casual games. I'm talking about the sense of retainment.
Yeah.
Usually people, they would play Call of Duty all year. That's the
Yeah.
game they play. And
Okay.
even those people were dropping the game after 1, 2, 3 months. And they may have just played Warzone at that point. But even before that, that was just not a thing where people would just drop that game after
For me, it
a
was
month and a half.
Yeah, for me it was I want to say around maybe Advanced Warfare. If I remember correctly. Advanced Warfare is when it started, where I just bought the game.
That's what I've heard
and
from a
I
lot of
played maybe for a month and a half, and I was like, this shit, I don't like this at all.
Was that the one with the really fun movement?
Yeah, where you can walk on
Or like,
walls.
yeah. That game had some fun movement.
Yeah, no, I
Shame
hated
that.
Because it's after that game that the developers were like, no, it was Modern Warfare 2. I invented a new universe in my brain. It was a response to how cool running on walls was in Titanfall, and they were like, no, don't steal our thunder, Respawn, even though you're technically us, but older.
Hey, we made you guys cool, and we're doing cool shit over here, and I stand by that. Titanfall 2 maybe the best action shooter ever made.
I played Titanfall 2 a couple months ago, and I was like, I think I've only played shitty FPS games. I think
yeah, no, I remember you were sending messages to the chat, and you're like, this
FPS
game's
games are
good.
fun. Maybe I should play a better one.
It's really, really good. It's really, really good. Rest in peace, Titanfall. I'll never see that game again.
May it live on in Apex.
Servers are back up and running. People
not
are wall running and jumping in MX as we speak.
Yeah. But for me personally, I just don't understand I had when the news came out that they were actually putting out the new Call of Duty out on Game Pass. I had told you guys, like, I thought for sure that they would put in the last Call of Duty, which was what, Modern Warfare 3, 4?
4.
Modern Warfare 4 out on Game Pass. Like, basically, they would do it a year delay. So, come out this, let's say the new Call of Duty comes out in October. They would put out Modern Warfare 4 in October on Game Pass. And then next year, we would get the new one.
Interesting thing about you bringing that up is, so as I was mentioning when we were talking about games I play a lot of random sports titles, sim sports, always have. That's what they do on Games Pass for those, is about 2 to 3 months maybe before the next one will come out. They put the old one out there.
Exactly.
That's also what I was expecting from a serialized series like COD.
Like, it just makes the most sense for me because you get the people that haven't played that game to sign up for Game Pass. 2, you also get the revenue coming from the new game still, at least for 10 to 12 months. That way, when, like, you're not missing out on the money, which it sounds like for me that they are missing out on the money and they're just getting the numbers up for Game Pass.
The argument you could make is that they are missing out on the money by having it the Xbox version. Like, how much money are you missing out on the Xbox version? Because there's been a ongoing I've been hearing conversation from, like, I think Jeff Grubb said when he went to GDC this year, one of the things he was hearing from developers was that, like, they don't know why they're still bothering to make Xbox ports. Like, their sales are that low. Like, some games that, like, should be selling well on the, like, compared to other platforms, they're selling double digits on Xbox.
So we're getting close to, like, what people were beginning to say about the Wii U.
Yeah.
Because, like, just if you're making a smaller game, you want to put it on Switch. If you're making a AAA game, you want to put it on PC and PlayStation. And then I think the other thing is, on PC, there's a certain group that, like, Game Pass, Call of Duty is the biggest motivator you're going to get. But there's also a good chunk of people that they don't play. When they load up their computer, they don't go, where shall I look for games today? They double click the Steam icon and that's their gaming machine.
Absolutely.
And so you're still going to get sales from those types of people. You're still going to get PlayStation sales because that's where people are playing video games. That's not on their phone.
And I get that, but how many people do we know? Like, let's just say we know a lot of people, right? The three of us know a lot of people. How many people do we know that also own a PS5, but also own like a really fancy computer that can run video games?
You're not wrong.
Why would I buy a PS5 version of Call of Duty 2024 when I could just pay $15 to get it on Game Pass on my computer?
I think most of those people, I think that people is a small pool of the PlayStation 5 player base is probably the situation.
I don't know.
Although
I feel like nowadays
be honest, with the PlayStation,
there's growing data that, like, people our age are the only people playing on consoles, and, like, everyone younger than us, like, if they're like, I'm serious about video games, they're building PCs anyway. So,
but that's what I'm saying.
Which is kind of hype. I'm glad these children are learning that.
No, yeah,
it's a good. That is good knowledge.
I figure this would happen because of, like, how popular Minecraft was, and, like, my little sister when she was like 7 or 8 was talking about Minecraft servers And I was like, these kids are built different. Like the next generation is gonna be all PC gamers trying to stream on Twitch.
Oh, I'll never forget who was like way ahead of this curve back when I was in high school. He ran like early Minecraft servers. Like he built a server that he ran in his room, kind of deal. That shit was tight. Those were always the good times.
Yep. It's turned from like when I was in like later high school, like early college, like you knew a guy, and that was your server guy that would be like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm starting up a server in here. Have you checked out this thing? It's called Discord. It's like Skype, but way easier. It makes more sense. And now everyone is that guy.
There's no memes in general.
Yeah. So, but I think at this point, because like if this fails, they just make another Call of Duty next year and then just go, hey, it's not on Game Pass this time. And then
Yeah,
the
but
people
is that
who only played it because of Game Pass will be like, well, I only played it because it was on Game Pass. And the people who play Call of Duty every year are like, cool, I'll buy Call of Duty this time, I guess.
I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, but is that really how you want to start off you have Call of Duty? We put it on Game Pass. Oh, it actually didn't make as much money as it usually does. So it's not on Game Pass anymore. But we still raised the price for Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. The thing I find interesting is that this is the first time Call of Duty is being used as a console war,
Yeah.
mid-console war.
Yeah.
Because normally what happens, like in the 360 era, Call of Duty 3 gets pretty big. Call of Duty Modern Warfare gets huge. And then Xbox goes, hey, Activision, we've got the most consoles on the market. You wanna do a marketing deal? And Activision is like, hell yeah. And because of that, that just becomes a train that keeps Microsoft winning.
Mm-hmm.
On the PS3, Call of Duty Ghost comes out. It doesn't do so hot in general, but it is starting to sell more copies on the PS4 than the Xbox One. That deal expires, and then Sony goes, "Hey, we're selling more PS4s than the Xbox is this time. You want to hook up with us?" And Activision's like, "I'm going where our money's going."
Mm-hmm.
And so it's never changed how the console situation is going. It's just maintained who was winning. It just increases the amount of space between who's in first and who's in second, or who's behind Nintendo.
Yeah.
But also, like, we are playing entirely new game now that Microsoft has made up. So I think right now it's just Call of Duty is their biggest bet to get another surge of Game Pass subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, I don't think they have a plan beyond that.
No.
I don't think they have a what happens if it doesn't make Game Pass bigger. I think it's just they sell more.
They can't afford
to put more effort in Call of Duty Mobile, I guess.
Yeah, they can't really afford to have that line of thought. Like it will bring us subscribers, whether or not it wants to.
Yeah. So I mean, this is the big issue, that how they got here in the first place, where they go, you know, who makes cool video games? Obsidian, smaller developer. We really like what I forget his name, but
now to be fair, we can't judge Obsidian yet. We have not seen the title.
Oh no, I'm just saying they buy these smaller developers like Ninja Theory, like Obsidian, like Double Fine. That's what I was trying to say. Mm-hmm. That like have these nice little niches, and then they go, that's not enough. We got to buy the whole Kahuna, and then they buy Bethesda, and then they buy Activision Blizzard King, and now they're in a situation where they have all of these developers because they bought these giant publishers that are giants on their own, and now like they have these little guys that they bought before doing that they don't know what to do with, or that came along with Bethesda, because like they clearly just bought Bethesda for Elder Scrolls Fallout, and hopefully Starfield would be the next Fallout. They bought Activision Blizzard for Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Diablo, and so all the little guys that come with them, like Machine Games, or I guess they got Indiana Jones on Machine Games, so we'll see how that turns out. Mm-hmm. But like id's not really a giant thing. Like people know what Doom is, but I don't think Doom 2016 is like Call of Duty.
No, I would honestly say it is. Doom, those two Doom games were blown
I would
up.
say Doom is in the same place as Tomb Raider, where like you've heard of them, but have you played them? Not have you,
No,
the
I would say
gamer who knows Tomb Raider not from the video games, but as I saw that Angelina Jolie movie, and I think there's a game. I think
don't
it's
know,
based on a
man. I
video
think
game.
you're
I think
really
Doom's in that situation.
denying the power of Doom. I think
I
Doom just holds like a really strong place, one, for being that first shooter, and then Doom 2016, 10-hour game. If
I'm
you like
talking about
shooters,
dollars and cents. I'm talking about what Satya Nadella, the guy who says, I know everything about video games and NPCs and RPGs. Those are game letters, right?
yeah.
I'm saying what that man is thinking is I bought Phil wants me to buy the Call of Duty building. He wanted me to buy the Fallout Elder Scrolls guys, and then he's looking at the numbers and he's like, the Doom guys are making a game, and that didn't make like.
if I remember though, didn't Doom and Doom 2 make pretty decent change for
I,
him?
I think so.
Yes, but they're not making Elder Scrolls money.
Doom is the
They're not
sleeper
making
hit.
Skyrim
Making Elder
money.
Scrolls money, but I do think they're more
I'm not
valued
saying,
than.
I'm saying I value them. I think they're good at what they do. I think they make money. I think they are profitable. But I think Hi-Fi Rush was a certain level of profitable, but because it isn't Skyrim money, it isn't Fallout money. It's like we don't want to spend money on them that won't give us a absurdly large return.
I think
compared
though
to how
there
much
is
we
a
spend.
big difference from Hi-Fi Rush, a $30, not indie, but near that level, more close to that level of a prestige $30 game, and the $70 Doom 2016 and Doom Immortal, was it? Was that the name of it?
You can't even remember the Doom sequel name. Like
I
So
no, I just called it Doom 2. I know it had
I
a
just know
second
a lot
title.
more people talk about Doom 2016 than Doom Immortal, which is what you were trying to say.
Doom, no, I thought it was Doom Eternal.
Eternal, that was it, not
It
Immortal.
is
Doom
Doom
Eternal
Eternal.
generated
Diablo
over
Immortal was the
Yeah.
mother Diablo.
Doom Eternal, according to
Was
id Software's I want to say let me just double check. One of the CEOs at id Software. Doom Eternal generated over 450 million in revenue in the first 9 months of release.
Yeah, no, Doom made some fucking
Okay.
cash.
Yes.
So let's do.
It's the sleeper hit. It's the
Yeah.
sleeper hit. That's what it
I'm gonna
is.
do some math. Where's my calculator at?
I think they
Because like you want to divide 450. Where is it? There you go. 450 million divided by, because that was a $60 game.
Mm-hmm.
That's 750,000 copies.
but also how many
That's
subscribers did they get for Game Pass?
Oh, right, Game
There you go.
Pass.
There you go.
Oh.
There you go.
Mhm.
Can't really tell, you know? Can't really tell.
That's
Because that was the big thing when they first bought Bethesda, was they put out Doom 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 2 modern
Mhm.
Dooms all on there.
Mhm.
That was like their big, we have
Mhm.
Bethesda now. Here's your Fallouts, your Dooms, and your four Elder Scrolls games
and
that
like
they really pushed.
Doom Eternal also released in a pretty packed week because those were the Animal Crossing Doom
That's
jokes,
right.
and
That's
were
right.
like a couple other games, before and after Doom Animal Crossing weekend.
So
But I'm not. I'm saying I can imagine a world where like the next Doom comes out and it doesn't like set the world on fire the way like I'm just coming at this from a I don't know what video games are, but I keep hearing teenagers talk about Skyrim arrow in the knees and Fallout shenanigans. Like I feel like they are at a certain level of like in pop culture that Doom never quite reached. And I'm not saying that makes Doom any lesser. I'm just saying to an obnoxious like tech guy, I can see them being like, well, we got the Fallout and we still got the Skyrim people. Why do we need these guys? That's all.
See, I think way before Doom is ever cut, because it is a no name to people between the ages of 20 and 50 now.
mhm.
It has like that kind of range, which not many games do. Doom is a household title kind of game.
I'm coming at
That
this also from
I
Embracer
think
selling Tomb Raider and Deus Ex for pennies.
That
Or
was
Square
big.
Enix. Square Enix.
But Square Enix is a Japanese company that wanted to offload a lot of its bullshit.
That's true. I'm just wondering if like that's where those IPs are, that like the last couple versions haven't like sold super like obnoxiously a lot of are at.
I think no, they want to get more rid of things. I'm guessing like Dishonored. I'm guessing those kinds of things. If they're cutting from Bethesda, those are the fat you cut. Id you keep one because it develops your fucking engines.
Yeah.
It's like it made one of the best engines of the past couple years with the engine they used in Doom. So I see more like the Dishonored people going down.
Yeah,
I see more like which they did. They got was Arcane Austin.
I only found out recently that Arcane Austin is like the original Arcane, and like that's the studio that did Dishonored 1, and Arcane Leon, which did Dishonored 2 and Deathloop. They were spun off to help with development on Dishonored 2. I thought it was the other way around. I didn't understand that.
No, and then
so
the
that's why
people
it's
that were
like,
doing that were given Redfall.
so that's unfortunate.
So before we go down a rabbit hole of other stuff, I wanted to ask, how do we think the new upcoming the new upcoming Microsoft games are going to do, specifically Indiana Jones and Great Circle?
Great Circle.
I think they will definitely see a jump in
Full
Game
Circle?
Pass subscribers for Indiana Jones. And then it really falls on Machine Games, if I remember correctly, that is the Wolfenstein studio, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, all right, those two games, great at killing Nazis. Indiana Jones loves killing Nazis, so they understand the way to make that fun and cool. After 8 billion games have done that. It's really, one, capturing the flavor of Indiana Jones, and two, making that whip fun.
Yeah.
Which
that's what concerns me the most, because when I think of Indiana Jones as a fighter, I think of him as a scrapper and like as a improvisational guy. I don't think of him as a shooter character.
You see, I instantly do, because of the knife pull blast the guy.
See, but like that's one scene.
That
and
is
like,
one scene, but
in like
has
3,
shot behind the truck
I
and
haven't seen the
stuff.
4th and the last one. There is a lot more of him whipping people and just
There
grabbing
is.
a dude and like decking him in the face than there is of him shooting.
My guess is it's going to be half stealth, half action, where you can go around, whip, take out, and then the minute it pops off, you're grabbing guns off the floor, you're picking up the MP40 off a dead guy, drop it, get the new shit. That's how I would build that game, personally.
I am more concerned by how what was the newest one? The Dial of Destiny did at the box office. That makes me more concerned about like what the world is feeling for for Indiana Jones content, because it was one of the like poorest movies in the box office last year, and I'm not sure if that makes it.
But I think
if that's like the litmus test for what people are feeling for Indiana Jones, or if that's just everyone looked at that and went, that's not what I want from an Indiana Jones movie.
It was more that, as somebody who is a big indie guy, it just didn't feel like an Indiana Jones movie.
I'm just also like, at some point, like let Harrison Ford rest. He is 70 years old. He can take a little nap. We don't
need to de-age you with AI, Harrison Ford.
I get stressed out looking at him run. I'm like, I'm no offense to the guy. I don't think he's out of shape or anything. It's just like, I don't think we need action movies.
That fucker's still flying planes, and he's crashed twice.
That means he shouldn't be.
But I think it's a little different, because comparing to the movies to the game, I think people who like the action adventure games that are Tomb Raider and Uncharted, I think people who like those type of games will flock towards this in hopes that it will be close enough, or like even the Wolfenstein fans will play this game thinking like, oh, it's the guys that did Wolfenstein, like it should be pretty good. And I am hoping that it's good because that first trailer that we saw looked pretty
good.
great.
Troy Baker is doing a great Harrison Ford impression.
Yeah.
Took me a while before I was like, I think that's Troy Baker, and that's that was a pretty good job. So
I also think that there will be problems shifting from first person to third person. If I remember correctly, that's what it's doing.
That's the plan, I believe. That some
but
sections will be in third.
I've played enough games that do work like that. Like in Metroid Prime, you switch from first person to the ball, and
you're not wrong.
I think in Halo, it's all first person, and then you jump onto a warthog, and then you see your guy in the turret.
Okay.
That's like vehicle controls and stuff like that. I'm very interested in
climbing a ladder.
When will it be? Like, when will it switch? Is the question.
I think it's the example they showed was him climbing a ladder, because climbing a ladder in first person always feels awkward. And that feels more like a throwing a bone to like casual players that are like, point the mouse up, what?
Yeah.
That was my reaction the first time I played a first person shooter, and they were like, just look up to climb up.
Weird.
But fun. I think otherwise, like I think the only gameplay segments that you're gonna have that will be in third person will be like glorified quick time events, or it's like, oh, I'm grabbing a guy and it's like press square, and then the Nazi is like, you're just like me, Indiana Jones. You hate people who say the F word, and he's like, no, shut up.
Yeah. Okay, so we've discussed Indiana Jones. We think it should do good. It should.
It will at least bring in not, who knows how long they'll stay, who knows how long they'll keep Games Pass. But I think enough people are interested in it to where they'll play Indiana Jones.
Yeah. So let's hope. Avowed, which is the Obsidian Games game.
I fully think that's all on how it plays and how it plays in reviews. We know nothing other than some minor art style in this.
It's smaller than we thought it was going to be. I remember that being a thing.
Obsidian has made some of my favorite RPGs. The first South Park game, incredible. Fallout New Vegas, incredible. I did not like their space one. I just think it's hard to make a space Outer Worlds, yeah. A space RPG.
Well, that's fair.
But they
made or two. I had some space parts.
They are now, though, doing when the problem is with Avowed, for me at least, is when they first showed it and it was first announced to be in development, it was their fuck you to Bethesda that they wanted to make.
Ugh.
They made their Fallout fuck you, and now they're like, we're going to do Skyrim because of how you fucked us over with New Vegas.
Yeah.
And then Xbox was like, and we're going to buy Bethesda as well. Probably, I'm guessing, about 3 years into development of that cycle.
The next Elder Scrolls, like they're going to make an Elder Scrolls after in 7 or 8
that's
years.
my problem for Avowed, is when they got it, great idea, smart. Now it's just a weird look.
I don't know. I think it could be okay. Like the trailer that we saw in the last what was it, Developer Direct?
I think
it looked
Developer _Direct.
I'm sorry, _Direct. It looked promising, but this is also coming from a guy that doesn't like fantasy games. So like it looked interesting. I could be confusing two games right now. But if I remember correctly, they did where you could do 2 swords, or like one's magic, one hand is magic, one hand is...
there's one magic hand, one sword hand, 2 sword hands, one magic hand, magic,
so like,
magic,
It looks cool. I think it being a smaller game than Elder Scrolls is a plus, because fuck man, let me guess.
It depends on how much smaller it is.
I want it to be like the quality of like Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, like that level of like kind of weirder off RPG, like really lean into the weirder parts of what you can do, especially if you're making it smaller. Make it memorable. That's what they need to do. This can't be.
My big issue with
basic
that
RPG.
showcase is that by the time I finished watching it, I didn't feel like I got an idea of what the actual game will feel like. It felt very tech demo-y, like this
It
is a
did. It felt
mechanic
like
we
the
have figured out,
early.
and
Yeah.
but not like the cohesive, like this is what an hour of Avowed will feel like. Obviously, I'm not asking for an hour of gameplay, but like Call of Duty, every year that they're like, here's a segment from Call of Duty, you're like, I know what this game is gonna play like.
Yeah, but it's different because you kind of like
Yeah,
them
there's a
showing
lot
off
more
Call
going
of
on
Duty
to an
is
RPG.
yeah.
No, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying when Skyrim was on its way out, I had an idea of what Skyrim was going to play and feel like within like the last 6 months of that game coming out.
Right.
And
Are we in within the 6 months of Avowed?
It says here, according to Xbox, this game is coming to Xbox Series X and S, PC, and Cloud, and Game Pass, obviously, this fall.
This fall. Okay, I'm guessing we'll get one big gameplay trailer then.
yeah,
Yeah, I expect it in next week.
I'd
When
rather
I'm
have
guessing
that.
Xbox will do something late summer.
I'd
No,
rather
I'm
have
expecting
that.
this at the showcase.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
On
would
June
honestly
9th.
rather have that as the post showcase than Call of Duty Black
Yeah,
Ops.
we don't really
I
need.
know it's what sells. I know that's what the COD heads want. I just think I'm more confused as to what Avowed is than to what a fifth Black
the
Ops game is.
the amount of money that they put
Next
into
Black
these.
Ops game.
Yeah,
Cold
Black
War
Ops.
don't forget. Oh God, always forget that game. That game was not good.
I only know about the fourth one because it had the 4 eyes and it made people very grumpy.
Yes, it did. But I think the amount of money that they put towards the showing off Call of Duty, like we don't need a Call of Duty Direct. Just put out the trailer, put out a separate video that is like you hyping up the gameplay, you showing off the gameplay like they usually do. You don't need
what they did back when it was just Activision alone. You
Yeah.
put out your big teaser in May, which tells you which franchise it's going to be, what war is it.
Yeah, but last year they did that, and it was a whole thing. Like you don't need
the
to.
Big
oh
thing,
no, I'm talking about like way back in the day.
Okay,
yeah. Trailer,
like where you
and
are
then
watching
you get in
E3
September.
Microsoft, you see like a bunch of 3D goggle things, and then you hear someone say no Russian Modern Warfare.
You see Soap, you see Reznov, you see some classic characters doing something cool in a cool outfit.
Yeah.
And then in September, you do a multiplayer reveal where you show me some maps and you show me like, are you doing perk 10? Are you doing whatever? That's all I ever need to see about COD.
Yeah.
There are no questions there. Avowed, I got all the questions.
This is Microsoft intervening to, because like it's not even for people who are like, I'm so excited to watch Summer Game Fest reveals. Ooh, what's Microsoft going to show? It is specifically for Call of Duty people being like, oh, there's a Call of Duty announcement going on at like 3:45 or 4 o'clock, and then they clock in like 5 minutes early, and then it's the end of the Xbox show, and then Call of Duty are like, oh, Call of Duty's an Xbox thing now.
Yeah.
I got that in my head, even though I'm not like reading game websites every second of the day. It's more for that than like the actual Call of Duty announcement itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. I am hoping that next year they don't just keep following their showcases with a Call of Duty Direct. Like I don't know, we don't need this. Not necessary. What else is coming out? What was the other game that I wanted to talk about?
Is it the Quado?
Oh
yeah, we have to talk about Perfect Dark. We need to talk about Perfect Dark and how it is seemingly not going as well as they want it to be going, which kind of sucks. I don't know. I don't understand. It's pretty straightforward. It's just make another Perfect Dark game. Like, it's not that hard. It's
so from what I've heard, the big issue that has been plaguing Xbox since like just going into the Xbox One is that as a Microsoft subsidiary, they've always, and I can't remember what the exact ratio is, but they maintain like you have to have a certain minimum of employees and fill everything else with contractors that are only there 3 months at a time. And on the Xbox, and to a certain extent, the 360, you could get away with that. But now games are becoming so big, so dense, and take so long to make that firing a person and telling them they can't work for a month and then rehiring them and catching up on what they've missed in that time every 3 months of a project's development is just making every game that's made first party at Microsoft really hard to get
Yeah,
done.
but let's also not forget the fact that they also have Crystal Dynamics working on this.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
And they're still there even after the Embracer situation.
Yeah. Yep.
And Embracer did not sell them. That's not one of the companies Embracer sold.
Because I'm guessing they just have way too much money involved to even find it be profitable to lose it.
Yep. But it's
just... Are they also doing the Tomb Raider with Amazon? Or is that a different...
No, it's them.
So they're
doing both games. Yep. Both games.
Perfect Dark and Tomb Raider.
So I looked it up. And the first Perfect Dark on N64, of course, was developed by Rare. Let's not forget, Rare is also working on Everwild, the game that we haven't seen in like 4 years, that we still don't know what the fuck is about. And also, they're still working on...
What my bold call of this all... that will be a big game shown during their events. Either that will be KeyleaCon or that will be from Xbox themselves. But I do think this is a game that Everwilds,
Okay. Right.
Oh dang!
That we will be seeing in the next this year. Sometime this year, we'll see whatever that game is.
Let's hope. But the Rare Perfect Dark on N64, it got pretty crazy reviews. Metacritic score is at a 97. A 97.
Let's take us back to 19.
It's hard to... People forget, but like when it came out, people were like, if you're a GoldenEye fan, this is new GoldenEye. This is what you want to play. If you're tired of GoldenEye 007 on the N64, it's Perfect Dark time.
But what I'm saying is, like, if you're making a Perfect Dark game that's brand new quadruple A, wouldn't you be smart and think like, hey, we should probably reboot this or remaster the first one, bring it to current gen?
They did?
No, I don't think they did.
No, wasn't that a 360 PS2 era game?
2010.
Sequel, Perfect Dark Zero, but I thought
a remaster.
It's in the
remaster was
Rare Replay.
Rare Replay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
that's
still,
Perfect Dark.
I was like, I know it exists somewhere.
Again,
but what I'm saying is like how they did with Tomb Raider. So like Tomb Raider, the reboot happened and they added stuff into it and they made it their own shtick. Like, why not do that?
I think that's kind of what this is going to be.
But this game has been in development for a very long time.
It's Quad A. Who knows how long this will take?
I don't think anyone is going into this game expecting Perfect Dark 3, the thrilling sequel to the 2004 Perfect Dark Zero, or 2008, I think, because it was a 360 game.
Yeah.
Like, I think, unless they are idiots, which it's Microsoft, I'm pretty sure the first announcement trailer is just going to show gameplay, action, and like story bits, and then at the end you're going to be like, oh, that's Perfect Dark, and hopefully it looks good. But I don't think they're gonna be like, she's back.
Okay.
So after the conspiracy of the last game, no, I think it's gonna be like a soft reboot. I think it is the Rise of the Tomb Raider thing you were talking about.
So, as far as I can tell, and we first heard about Perfect Dark in 2020, which is kind of fucking crazy that we heard about this game in 2020. So,
I mean, starting a game development in the middle of the pandemic, I can kind of understand it.
No, but I don't even think that they did start it. The initiative... Hold on, let me just...
They formed in like 2018, 2019.
The initiative was founded in 2018.
Yeah.
2018.
So I think this was probably their first game too.
This is the first game. Yes.
I mean, I don't think they tried anything before this and scrapped and came to this. I think they were made for this.
Yes.
Yeah. The lead developer, so that makes sense. The creative director, lead director on this project was behind the Tomb Raider reboot. That's why Crystal Dynamics is there, because they have a rapport as a former creative team. That makes sense now.
He made some of the better ones of that Tomb Raider reboot series.
I mean, the best ones are the first two.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I like to point out that it's the second time they rebooted it because Tomb Raider Legend exists.
They did. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
very weird.
Weird time. Weird time ahead. Weird times ahead. There was one other game that I wanted to touch on, and I forgot what else it was. Let me see if I could figure it out. Is the Visions of Mana isn't going to be console exclusive, is it?
No, I think it might be because it wasn't even Game Pass thing.
Yeah, they had said that it was going to be on Game Pass, and then they took it back. They're like, no, this isn't going to be on Game Pass.
Yeah.
I guess that was pretty much it. Sea of Thieves is still going strong, surprisingly.
Closing thoughts?
Yeah. Obviously, we have to touch on the fact that they closed down Arcane Austin and what was the other studio?
Tango Gameworks.
Yeah, which kind of fucking sucks. Do we think that we see Phil Spencer pop up on this showcase after this? Like, he hasn't really said anything publicly. And now that Sarah Bond is,
I think he has to makes the most sense to show a personal response at this point. Now that it's, I don't want to say died down, but that there's more time between the official announcement and situation. I don't know what their plan is.
Yeah.
It feels like a really rough time to be doing that because on the other hand, you also have Blizzard just being like, we're not doing BlizzCon this year for similar reasons. So,
yep, they don't really have anything to.
I can imagine a situation where it's a glorified Nintendo Direct and you don't ever see Phil
They
Spencer
bought a sinking ship when they got Blizzard. They just didn't fucking that time, or maybe they did.
Honestly, Activision as well. Like the problem they were having. And this is stuff that Jeff Grubb says that he's not super sourcing things, but word on the street that he's heard. Yeah. But the big reason why Activision was so eager to close is because they went so hard on Call of Duty and they couldn't figure out a way to increase Call of Duty sales.
Yeah, which makes sense.
And because the weird way money works is it's not enough to be like, we are the biggest game ever and we're selling about the same as last year.
Yeah, but we want more.
We're the biggest game ever and we're making more.
Yeah, we want more. So we want more money.
They don't understand that it was unsustainable to grow for COD. Like, we look back now 10 years ago, that's not going to be seen again in this industry of a game taking over like that.
Wow,
that was a special time.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about a game where you're like a full series making 10 games in a row that are selling better than one another back to back
on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first game to outsell every other game on the market that wasn't Call of Duty or a Rockstar title, because Grand Theft
that's a different level. That's
Hogwarts Legacy. That's the only game that's ever managed to be like, hi, I'm a unrelated, not first non-Rockstar, non-Call of Duty game to be number one.
And you're pulling out the biggest IP of the 2000s to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That speaks to the level of what they had.
Yeah.
And that's why they were probably like, oh, we get this, we get that. And then they got it at the dying end cycle.
Mm-hmm. I have one last question before we close out the show. Do we get a mascot platformer?
No.
Not even to just crush my dreams. No Banjo-Kazooie. No Spyro.
It will be Banjo-Kazooie, but it will only be nuts and bolts play style.
I don't
I
want
think
that.
Banjo Crash. I think the 3D platformer is in a much smaller situation because like no one is as excited. Like I'm just being realistic. I love these guys, but it's in a similar place as like for the 20 years we were like Final Fantasy 7 remake, FF7 remake,
Yeah, yeah,
FF7
yeah,
remake.
yeah, yeah.
And but obviously not in a this will make a shit ton of money break in case of like emergency. It is a
Nostalgia.
RPR and not get any lower. Here it's the Tony Hawk 1+2 collection
Yep.
that Activision did, where they brought it out and they're like, Tony Hawk guys, we're not huge assholes doing terrible things on the internet. I think
Oh, we are.
I don't think it's
Canceled.
this year. I think we're probably gonna have things are gonna get worse before we reach that point.
Well,
Where
Toys
they're
for
like,
Bob is still working on something for Xbox.
that's true.
So we'll
I
see what
think
happens.
I forgot about Spyro. I think it might be Spyro.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like that pick. I like that
Because
call.
from what I've heard, I think Toys for Bob did the Spyro collection, and
Yes,
I
they did.
think
They were in the midst of
part of the
working.
reason why they went independent is they were going to do something with those mechanics elsewhere, and I think Microsoft was just like, well, we can't tell you what to do, so we might as well like get something else. Because I
Oh,
think there's also an attempt to get younger players into console games.
I thought it was
And
that they were working on they were about to do Spyro 4, and then they got pulled into Call of Duty.
they were about to get pulled in, and then they bought themselves out or something. Like
No,
they
no,
went
this was
independent.
before they got acquired. So like before Activision got acquired,
Oh,
they got pulled
okay.
into Call of
Yeah,
Duty, and then they were yeah. So that's what
but
happened.
they are currently independent. They are not
Yes,
a Microsoft
and good for them. Good for
subsidiary.
them. Good
So,
for you, Toys for Bob.
but from the word on the street that I've been hearing from people who aren't like just random people throwing out things, like I'm not an idiot. Like I just
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
journalists that like cover these things is that like they're gearing up for some kind of to do what they were doing around the like Crash Bandicoot
Yeah.
Spyro thing.
Do a Crash 4, do the Spyro to the
4.
Crash
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
I think a Spyro 4 to the Spyro trilogy
Yeah.
situation.
Let's
Hopefully.
hope. Let's hope.
I believe someone is banging currently on my front door, so I'm gonna get going, guys. Since we're right here
Okay.
at the end, go deal with that.
All right.
Lovely
Sorry.
talking. I'm just gonna give my closing thoughts real quick,
Yeah, go for it.
which are, I think Xbox is in a pivotal point. I'm not someone who thinks they're in the gutter yet,
Mm-hmm.
but they have to play these next few years real smart. They have to close out this console generation strong to get people excited for the next one,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
or they're dead.
Let's hope
That's really where I'm at. Not dead, but they become Games Pass on everything.
not. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I
That's
appreciate
really
it.
where I stand with Xbox. You guys have a great rest of your day.
You too, buddy.
See
Take it
ya.
easy.
Peace out.
John, closing thoughts.
I am a bit more negative on it than Ryan is. I'm not like I don't enjoy this. I'm not like a guy that like takes pleasure in like being angry at things, but I am the type of person where I don't like giving companies the benefit of the doubt when their track record has suggested otherwise. Like,
Yeah.
so I think we are just counting down the days before. I think Microsoft will continue to sell the Xbox. I think it will continue to be a platform, but I think we are counting down the days till everything is on PlayStation. If not day one, it becomes like an inevitability that like, oh, that game looks really cool. A
Yeah.
certain type of person is waiting for it to come to PlayStation.
And let's not
Um,
forget they did just we found out that they were doing Operation Latitude, where
yeah,
nothing is off the table for putting it on PS5.
yeah. So, I think if Call of Duty does not become like if it doesn't become obvious that at least on Xbox and PC,
Mm-hmm.
that Game Pass is where people are playing Call of Duty and people on PlayStations are just still playing on PlayStation. I think we will just like every couple of months we will find out another Xbox exclusive is on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't think that necessarily means like we won't get good games from Xbox Studios or anything. I think we might be able to start seeing some more weird stuff come out again
Mm-hmm.
after they start making everything multi-platform. That'll kind of even things out.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I think that the upcoming games that we have from Xbox coming out this year, primarily, I think Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will be the turning point of Xbox, where, like, yes, we can make games that are good and people enjoy. Not to say that Hellblade wasn't, but we already spoke about that before.
And then
Yeah.
even in the best case scenario, I don't think Hellblade would have gotten people to buy Xboxes or sign up to Game Pass. I think it would have made a lot of people really happy and respect Microsoft at the most.
Exactly. So I'm expecting Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I really hate that name. That's a really bad name.
It just makes me think of the Yellow Ring of Death.
Yeah.
Honestly,
That's
Indiana
the Great
Jones and the Yellow Ring of
Circle.
Death sounds like a better title.
Yeah.
Red Ring of
Honestly,
Death.
I could
Yellow
see.
is
I could see just the Red Ring of Death pop up in the
Mhm.
game. That'd be really funny as a teaser, as a good
Yeah,
teaser.
yeah.
I'm expecting them to turn it around. Call of Duty. I'm hoping it's good. I know that they've had what was it? I think it was 2 years working on this. No, it was supposed to be that they were working on this for 2 years, and then they decided, no, we're just going to release this out this year because it's good to go.
I thought it was. Oh, okay.
I could be wrong.
Because I know. No, I think that was last year. Because Modern Warfare 3 Remastered was supposed to be a DLC for
That's
Modern
right.
Warfare 2.
You're right. So
and
they
then
did work
released it early.
Yeah.
But I think that was to give this Black Ops title more time.
Yes, you're right. So this was the first game that has taken 2 years for Activision to make, which is hopefully, fingers crossed, a good thing.
Well, I think it's the Activision pipeline is weird because like they were on a three-year thing between Treyarch, Infinity Ward, and I forget the third one. It has a longer name, but every time like with the next generation coming, like that kind of flex things up.
Raven something.
No, Raven. It's like it's a multi-syllable like gunfire something. No, it's not gunfire.
Treyarch, Sledgehammer.
Sledgehammer is what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So, but I think this is the first one since like the next generation took over that, from what we've heard so far, has had a clean development cycle compared to the last couple of games where things were either rushed or came out prematurely. So
yeah, so we'll see what happens. Yeah. With that being said, John, where can people find you?
You can find me on my Twitter at Noisy Shark. I just post things that make me grumpy or excited on video games. The past couple of weeks, I've been, since E3 is dead forever, and now it's all about E3. I've been going through the oldest E3 shows I can find on YouTube and just like tweeting out my thoughts on them. So I went through like the Nintendo, Sony, and Xbox 2004 E3s. Really, oh man, I forgot how many charts used to be at E3s. Those were not meant for us. Those were meant for investors and Walmart managers. I was like, oh man, I'm zoning out. So I find it interesting to see how like people would announce games and stuff back in the day. So I'll probably be tweeting more thoughts about that throughout the next couple of weeks.
Okay. All right. Cool. We will be back with the Penultimate Game Show, and I'm hoping probably next weekend, just in time to prepare for E3, to talk about Sony, and hopefully if Sony puts out a PlayStation State of Play or showcase this week.
It feels a bit tight. Normally they give you a couple of days, unlike Nintendo.
Yeah, they're not like Nintendo, where Nintendo's like, yeah, we have one coming out tomorrow, so they're prepared.
Honestly, I think the fact that Nintendo, it seems like they were kind of forced to, but the fact that they were like, hey, next month we are having a direct, keep an eye out for it. I think we might get some cool stuff, even if it's all current Switch games.
That's the hope. I think that they, even if if they don't talk about the Switch 2, I feel like they have to set us up for like
Yeah.
hey, here's the Switch 2's lineup.
I think we will, one or two of the games towards the end will be like, look at this really cool game. I've
Mario
told you
Odyssey
when it's
2.
coming out. Doesn't have a Switch logo at all, like,
Yeah.
or the normal Switch like click animation, and you'll be like, that's a Switch 2 game.
Yep.
So,
Or it
I feel like
looks
a couple,
better than
you'll
usual.
be looking at them and you'll be like, I bet that runs better on Switch 2. I bet that's secretly a Switch 2 game that you can play on your
Let's
today
hope.
Switch.
Let's hope.
I hope it's Metroid Prime 4.
Fingers crossed. Let's hope we
That is
see
the
that at
everything.
least. Or Metroid Prime 2 and 3 remaster.
At this point, yes, I will definitely settle for Prime 2, 3 remaster. At this point, I either want to hear it get announced that it's coming out this year, beginning of next year, or it's canceled. Like,
yes.
I'd rather have it end than like keep hoping and then find out that like they just stopped making it and then never.
But you would think the Metroid Prime 1 remaster made so much money.
It was about as much as the last Metroid Prime, like Metroid Prime 3.
Oh, really? I thought it made more money.
It made more money, but you could tell it was the same people showed up and whoever got into Metroid since then, and it wasn't like a big like, oh man, Metroid's back. It was I don't know if you remember the World Ends With You sequel. It sold slightly more than the first World Ends With You.
All right.
It's a similar situation.
I'm seeing here, well, this is last year's numbers, but as of March 2023, Metroid Prime Remastered has sold 1.09 million copies. Which,
that's about average for a Metroid game.
Yeah. Okay. So, I was kind of hoping it was more.
The other thing though is that like both Metroid games are GameCube era games that reused a lot of Metroid Prime 1 assets.
Yep.
So they theoretically shouldn't be too much harder to do a remaster using the new stuff that they made for Metroid Prime 1.
Well, let's hope.
But who knows?
Yeah. We'll see. All right. Well, John, thank you for joining me. Well, I'm sure we'll see you with the live reactions for P3 and also probably Sony stuff. So
yeah, as long as the shows are before 2:32, I can make them. So all those early shows, that's where I'll be at.
All right, sounds good. All right. With that being said, we'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.